it looks like it's Tucker Thursday. I don't see the stream yet. There we go. We're coming up. Let's see what we got going here. I gotta get the framing right. Yeah, that's better. All right. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show landing gear blocks. I don't know how many's on there. We got two. All right, we're going to do landing gear blocks today. I have one to put in, and like I say, it's an hour a day type thing. We could go a little longer, but I kind of doubt it. But we'll get something done today. So I got to clear off my secondary workbench, and we'll turn it over and I'll explain how I do this. Hope the audio is better tonight. I got the headset on. The last time I listened to it, it was just clipping so bad that it was ridiculous. Where the heck are them little... Got three little spots right there I'm going to have to fill. And that's something. Must have been something on the... Must have been something on the foam. There we go. That feels better. These builds like this, if you want an outstanding model, take longer to do this, doctoring up or test fitting or whatever on the finished side than it does to build the thing. And I'll have to go over this several times, but let me make sure there's nothing on there that's making dents. Okay, I have one side installed, which is right here. We'll get the camera pointed to this side here. I should probably turn this whole thing around so you can see it a little better. Because it's kind of important. I need to sweep that stuff up. There's no room in this place. If I had more room, I could build more models, do a better job, but I'm stuck with this, so... Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the videos. And if you like what I do, please become a paid member. It's the sponsored side is $4.99. I'd like to have 10 new members a month. So far, I have 2. I don't think that's too much to ask for the knowledge I'm passing on. Yeah. Yeah, this thing's taking a beating. Getting road rash. Okay. The first thing is you're going to have to make a block that looks similar to this. The floor for this is a piece of aircraft ply, 1/8 inch. It's a 7 ply or 6 ply, you know, the heavy stuff. And this block here is a piece of 3/8 by half maple motor mount. And the easiest way to do this is to glue a piece of, just tack a piece of 1/8 inch piano wire onto this in the center. And then I take some basswood and put it on each side of it. And that captures the wire. And I epoxy that on. And then cut off the extra basswood. And that's what you end up with, is a block that looks like that. So because I don't have a drill press, I'm going to have to drill it by hand, by eye, of course. You want to drill a hole so that it goes down the center of your motor mount here, and that's what holds the torque arm of the landing gear that you bend up. So let's get an 1/8 inch bit. Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get this thing in dope here shortly. It's taking some abuse sitting on the foam. Of course, I could switch cradles, I guess. 1/8 inches right here. Now, I would advise to do this in a drill press. I don't have one here, so I have to eyeball it. It's not right. This hole here. Yep. So it comes out the other side. We're pretty close to center. That's close enough. If you followed the wing building section, you know that I built the landing gear clips out of plywood. I think on this one they're 16th plywood on an 1/8 inch rib. This piece here glues to the plywood and slips into this. Then of course you put epoxy on top of the rib clip, so that'll lock that in. Before you do that, is I make 2 doors to cover it and I drill them at the same time. That way the hole spacings are the same. So you got two doors with hole spacing the same. Or is that correct? Let's see which one I got here. No, I couldn't do it on this one. That's right. There's similar patterns is what I should say. Because you have to drill this back hole. The landing gear is going to come out to the outboard side of this. This back hole has to be behind the landing gear, especially if you're using wheel pants. Because if you have it on this side, you can't get the ball driver down past the wheel pant and strut. So make sure it's on the back side. Let me make sure this is the correct one for here. Yes, it will be. So, you're going to want to mark and drill the holes for the blind nuts. So we need a 3/32 drill bit. This is the 8th, I think. Or maybe it's 3/32. Yeah, this is 3/32. This all looks complicated, but it's really not. You'll see that how quick it comes together. So I'll just hold it up here. These pieces of wood I'm drilling here, okay, this is a piece of 16th inch aircraft ply. You kind of want something stout to hold the landing gear on. So now we have the holes here. We want to enlarge those to 1/8 inch so that the blind nuts will fit in. Go from the back side. Except I don't think that was big enough. That's, if I remember right. It's the next size up from 1/8. But we don't want to drill all the way through it and make a big old 1/4 inch hole in there, so you use the next size up from 1/8 just to open it up so that the blind nut will rest down in there. Okay, that's done. See, this goes real fast. There's really not much to it. That's why I wasn't too concerned about getting this done. The things that take the time are going to be things like the hollowing of the top block and the hollowing of the wingtips and so on and so forth. So we got 2 blind nuts. Need a couple washers. A couple of shorts. I usually use aluminum screws to hold the landing gear on. They're, I don't know, they're grains lighter. But you used to be able to get them from micro fasteners, but I don't know about now. That's an aluminum socket cap screw. But for pulling it down, we'll use steel alloy. because aluminum doesn't, the threads stretch, so you can't crank the crap out of them. But the thing to do here is put a washer on it. I should have drilled it to 1/8 anyway. 3/32 is just a little too small. You get those finger drills from Jim Lee. If you followed the Jim Lee line wrapping tutorial I put up, he sells those. That line wrapper, the story behind that line wrapper was, as I saw that video 20 years ago, and Jim Lee didn't make those line wrappers anymore. And I saw him at SIG, and he usually puts up a little tent with selling his wares. And I kept bugging him, "Hey Jim, you got one of them line wrappers? Just a clothespin with a reel on it." He said, "No, I don't make those no more." I said, "Man, you ought to make those. You'll sell the crap out of them." I said, "Nah, not really." Anyway, I conned him into making them for me. And I think they're about $25, but it's worth it. And now he's sold a whole pile of them. He also made me quite a few prop extensions. They're really nice. Now John and I work together. We make prop extensions now, but Jim Lee, when John and I make something over his place, it's a one-off deal. But if you want something custom made, Jim Lee's the guy to do it. So we put the blind nuts in there. This is an important step here. Make sure you epoxy them in. If you don't epoxy them in, you could be chasing those all around the airplane. So once again, I don't have my epoxy mixing tool, Model Aviation Magazine, but we'll go ahead and mix some epoxy up. Need a stir stick here. I do have a piece of Teflon that I use. I don't know where I got this, but I wish I had a big sheet of it. This sheet here is really good. Mix stuff up, and when you're done mixing, let it dry, and it falls right off. Nothing sticks to it. You just bend it, and the epoxy will come right off. So we'll mix up a little epoxy. Now I could do this all in one step, but I don't want to, and I'll explain why. When I mix these up and I'm epoxying blind nuts in, I want to take the screw out just before the epoxy sets. Now, if I had some Vaseline, I would put Vaseline on the threads, but I don't. So I'm not going to do the Neosporin trick again. So we'll get that epoxied in there. And wait for it to dry. So, what do you guys want to talk about for 5 minutes? I guess I could sand a little bit on this. There's always sanding to be done. Try not to sand out on the sheeting of the leading edge. It'll starve horse it, and it also makes the wing weak. Oh, I could cut that notch tonight in this. This is 180 grit paper. Of course, it'll all get sanded down with 320. If you leave the epoxy stick in the epoxy, you can tell when it's dry or getting ready to dry. And just before it dries, I screw them screws out. Thanks for the like. If you're not a member, please consider joining the membership. It's down there by the subscribe button. If it won't come up, unsubscribe from the channel and resubscribe, and hopefully that'll get you in. Man, I got all kind of little pricks in it. I'm gonna have to switch over to my other cradles. There must be some crud on this cradle. I don't want to have to putty everything, go around and spot putty all that shit. Nope, not dry yet. So I just kind of babysit it and wait for it to dry. I'm going to take two longer bolts, the two long bolts, once I screw these out, and I'll hold the two long bolts and position it inside there with epoxy. And then the most important part is the edging. And that's what really locks all this business in, is the edging. And you'll see why. And it makes it super strong this way. We're trying to build super strong, super rigid, with no wood. Somebody type in the chat box, make sure the chat's working. A hello, hey you, whatever. Because it's rather unusual that nobody has even said hello to me in the first half an hour. I always like to make sure that it's working. Let's see if I got it set right. Enable auto stop, auto start, DVR 360. They're just too many damn settings. Let's see, live chat. Enable live chat, yep. Chat to replay, enable slow mode. No, we don't want to enable that. We'll hit save. We got somebody in there. Thank you very much for letting me know the chat is working. That always helps, at least, when I see somebody post in there. Okay, that epoxy should be dry. Yep. Screw them out. And the reason why you want to screw a bolt in it is so none of the epoxy gets down in the threads. There's a possibility that you have to end up chasing them with a 440 tap anyway, but not normally. So that's a good thing there. Getting all tangled up in the wires. We got a couple long screws. Yeah, those are 632s. These are 1.25 inches. There we go. So you got to have something to hold on to when you set it down. So I get the 1.25 inch screws. Run it into the hole where we just come out of it. Not only that, it pushes out the epoxy when you run it down in there. Yep, good. Just a little trick. 3 likes, thank you. All right. The next member that comes up will get a green badge. So please consider joining. I like to see them green badges. Okay. So you just grab onto this and set it down for test fit it now. You don't want to fit. Why? Oh, it's on the screw. No, that isn't it. Why are we not fitting down in there? Things that make you wonder. Oh, it's this screw. Well, that wasn't thought out real well, was it? It's got to go over like that. Is that too long? Might be too long. I need to cut some of this off. So, come over to the bench here. It'll be a second while I cut this down. I want to make sure that's not touching the sheeting on top. Guess I could put my saw blade in the Dremel. That thing's dangerous. Oh boy, sawing away. Yeah. Shit, that'll take all day like that. Let's see if I can find my buzz saw blade. I'm going to show you a tool. It's the most dangerous tool I got. It's scary. There it is. I don't know if you guys... There was a guy at the model show selling these. This thing is dangerous. It doesn't run true. It vibrates like hell. And boy, if you slip, it'll cut your hand right off. I don't know if I want to show you this or not. Yeah, what the hell, we'll show you. Okay, get to see the bloodshed if something happens. Yeah. Don't run it wide open because it vibrates big time. Might have to though. This thing scares me. I don't know if you could hear it vibrating or not, but boy, it's spooky. It is spooky. Have we froze up? Nope. Okay, so let's see if it fits a little better now. Why is that thing acting like that? It's got to be that right there. So, we'll do a little relieving. You can't let it get you down. It can't win. It's only wood. Man, I wish it would sit down in there solid. I don't like how it's sitting. Why is it not sitting down in there solid? The only thing I can think of is it's that blind nut. It's hitting on the blind nut. There it is. There we go. We got it. Type. Evolution gliders. Type. What does that mean? Okay. I've got that in there so it's fitting down on there squarely. I had to give it a little persuasion. But as I say, nothing can beat me. I'm not going to let it whip me. Yep, that's in there solid like that. Okay. So now we're going to mix up some epoxy. Again. And you want to use enough. Remember, this is your landing gear. You want to use enough that it's going to hold this block in there, so don't skimp out. So the amount of epoxy I use will be about the size of a quarter. Right now it's the size of a $50, but you're going to mix it up and you're not going to get it all on there, so it don't matter. You want to put it right on top of that plywood rib. Both of them. And the most important thing is to get plenty of glue on this surface here. That's the torque rod. Torque arm of the landing gear. And set it in. And pull that maple up to the plywood. So we're going to just babysit it now. Oh, you said type something. Okay, type. Yeah, good. I said that a long time ago. Alright, I'm going to have to stand here and hold this, and we're not going to sing any songs because I can't sing, can't carry a tune. I can play an instrument, the radio, and play it really loud, but I tried my hand at piano, but that's tougher than it looks. It looks easy, but it's tough. I just have no musical aptitude whatsoever. I have not flown the 40 Tucker yet. We haven't had any weather. It's been windy and cold or raining. We haven't had any flights at all this year. It's that global warming setting in. It's supposed to be record cold tomorrow. Snow in May. Yeah, global warming. They couldn't make that stick, so they just changed it to climate change. Yeah, it changes 4 times a year, if you're lucky. Okay, come on now, hurry up. And what locks this in is the whole strength behind this business, and that's the end grain 1/8" balsa wood. So you want to find some C grain, rock hard 1/8" balsa wood. So as you can see, the reason for epoxying those blind nuts first is to make sure you got a good coat of epoxy on it, because if one of them comes off, it'll be floating around in the wing, and it would be major surgery to fix this. Not that it's impossible, because I've done some pretty major surgeries on airplanes, and you can't tell after it's done. It's just a pain in the butt. If I was going to do a surgery to repair this, I would cut a pretty good size hole and excavate that out of there, and then rebuild it and say, oh, bear, it'd be a bear. No, they're still not dry yet. I'm holding pressure in this direction, going this direction, to keep that motor mount up against the plywood rib until the epoxy sets. It's not so much the glue that I put on the edge of the 16th inch rib that makes this strong. It's that motor mount piece that makes it strong. And by cutting a 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch off it, I probably saved myself some weight. I don't know, a couple grams. But if you got a couple grams on this and 7 grams on the fuselage spot, and then we find another spot to take a couple of grams off, pretty soon we got an ounce off. It only takes 28 of those grams to make an ounce. And I look everywhere for those hidden grammages, because normally at the end of the build, the mystery pounds come on. They're not really pounds, but they're ounces. You say, well, I'm going to have a 58 ounce airplane, and boy, it looks really good till that last coat of clear. Ah, shoot, 64 or 63. Where did that come from? Well, it's the mystery. It's the mystery of model airplane building. So in order to hit 58 ounces, you have to build this at 55 ounces, because right at the end, doesn't matter, 2 to 3 ounces are going to appear on the airplane. Okay, that should be good enough. I'll take these screws out here. Got a little bit of epoxy on that screw again. I could feel it coming out. I hope that doesn't cause too much of an issue. I do have a tap just in case, but no, it's clear now. This one's okay. So I want to mark this one as outboard, and the other one is inboard. Of course, you can always take a piece of C-temp and trace these out and make it work, but I found that if I already have the doors pre-made, it's a lot faster and easier for me. OB. Okay, so we got that done. Now, the end grain 1/8 inch. This is 19 grams. We're going to cut some pieces to go down in there. And I'm cutting it off the hard end. And this one more for the ends. Okay. The tricks that I use. It's no big deal. Okay, so we're going to sand that flat, square. And then we're going to get a knife, and so I can trim that to size. Good sharp scalpel. We got quick set CA. You got to be real careful with the quick set CA because you get it down in those blind nuts, you're done. So we're going to have to take a 64th of an inch off of this to now those clips that I made, they have this plywood here and then an 1/8 inch backer on it. You want to make sure this piece rests flush up against those. Like so. And that'll hold it if you did your job right and you cut that land at 90 degrees. That'll mean that the wall is 90 degrees to the plate. So we'll get another one for the front here. Pretty easy peasy. So, I don't want to use CA on this, so I'll use some white glue because I can't get in there to glue that in there. So I'm going to use a couple drops of white glue on that. Sig Bond. This glue here is probably 25 years old because I don't use much of it. This bottle has lasted me that long. I think I bought this at Sig 92, so 92 to now, whatever that is. There we go. Remember, finish starts with the first piece of wood cut. So get a little piece of paper towel and wipe out any of that glue that happens to be residing in there. Then thin set CA. Little kicker. Scalpel. Sponge. And we'll do the front here. I think I'll use a little white glue on this instead. I think I'm going to have to spring another $2 for a bottle of this Sig Bond, which is just Tight Bond. I can remember as a kid when Tight Bond came out, I hated this stuff because it took so damn long to dry. I used to use Tester's green cement and Ambroid. Well, Tom Warden was our Tester's rep, so I got Tester's cement pretty cheap. I think it was either green. No, it was the yellow label that dried quick, I think. Our Tester's rep was Tom Warden, and our Pettit rep was Victor Cunningham. Look that name up. He's big into free flight. He designed the Stargazer, or I don't know, not the lumber wagon, but the Stargazer free flight airplane. Lumber gazer, that's what it is. Them guys in free flight really know their stuff. So you want this end piece to fit tight. So this is a hand fit piece. You don't want a whole lot of slop in this. That looks good. Got it on the first try. Well, we got 4 likes and 13 watchers. Why is that out of balance so bad? So we're going to put a cap in the end of this. Didn't even have to cut that one. That's fit perfect. I've been doing this too long. It's like Steve Hines says, he makes it look easy. Yeah, I guess. Well, that right there is the landing gear system. So now to finish it off, we'll just get some tape. I got the 80 grit paper here. Tomorrow night's Rusty's night, so I probably won't be on, but and I don't think we'll be doing a Saturday at John's, seeing as it's Mother's Day this weekend. I'm pretty sure he's got family business to attend to. At least he did last year. He ought to be pretty stir crazy by now. All that does is give me another 2 days to work on the airplane uninterrupted. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to. I'm not. I can really put out some work in those 48 hours. I can do at least 20 hours work. I know you probably say, no, you can't. Yeah, I do. Well, we'll cut this down and make it easier to sand. 12 and 4. Okay, grind away. I'm working on some metal toolboxes at work, putting them together. I wish them toolboxes were as easy to go together as this wood, but metal is a whole lot harder to work with than wood. Okay, we're getting close here. Let's switch up to the 180. Because I don't want to, looks like I'm splitting out the edges. I did split it out a little bit. Oh well. Little pooty. Now, I don't know whether you guys have ever paid attention to my landing gear blocks, but I'll glue a piece of 5/8 thick or whatever this measurement is here to this, put 2 holes in it. We'll set the gear door down in there, sand it to shape, and the only thing that's sticking out is a wire, and it looks like it just coming out of the wing. This type of landing gear door is something that's old hat too. People been doing it this way for years. Nothing new. Well, I need to get the vacuum out, I guess. Suck all the shavings out. Clean up the mess. This wire has got me all tangled up here. I had to unplug the microphone. Let's see here. Checking. Yeah, we got sound. We're back. So much to keep track of. I got about 100 foot of wire on the ground for cameras and microphones and stuff, just so I can do this. Now I got another 25 foot of vacuum cleaner cord on the ground. I'll clean this up later, but I just wanted to get the dust out of that. It's getting a little too late to run the vacuum. I think the people that lived here, they'd freak out if they were at my house in St. Louis. Because 3 o'clock in the morning, the compressor's running, the grinder's going, the disc sander's going, the belt sander's going. I don't care. Just let her rip, Tater Chip. Gotta get her done. I lost a little chunk of wood right there. I have to sand it, I guess. Well, I think that's all I'm going to do for this evening. 1 hour, 1 minute to put a landing gear block in. But this wing's just a little bit closer to finish. I worked a little bit on the fuselage after work that I didn't show, but kind of just shaping, getting things ready to go together. I need to make a stand for that, I think. I'll just put it back over here. Yeah, I'm going to have to clean this whole place up. It's quite a disaster. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be back Saturday and work on the Tucker some more. I might go on the chat tomorrow night, but you know, I don't really. I work on my airplane while they're talking, but I don't. It's not really anything for progress or anything like that. That's Rusty's gig. And like I said, I've added Charles as a manager now, and he can stream as well. If somebody else would like to be a manager in the Midwest, let me know. That way we can have 3 different time zones of programming for the live shows. Just get with me on Stunt Hangar, and we'll work it out. Anyway, till tomorrow night or till Saturday, fair winds, tight lines. See ya.